Update on the Nicholas Rossi case. A completely bizarre, wacko one with the guy who faked his own death. Do you recall that? For those who are unfamiliar, if you just needed a little refresher on his case, you can go check the playlist of Nicholas Rossi. He's that man from originally from Rhode Island who left a trail of victims slash survivors in his wake, including at least one, if not more wives within the US. There was a woman in Ohio that he SA'd and she pressed charges. And thanks to that, his DNA was in the system so that many years later, when a law was passed to get all of the R word kits tested in Utah, a lot of money was finally given to that. They were dusted off, tested, and lo and behold, one of them matched him. And then another woman in Utah was like, hey, me too. I remember this dude. That's the one who did it to me as well. He starts realizing, oh crap, law enforcement is on my tail. He fakes his death, pretends he has cancer, dies, and then flees the country, ends up in Scotland where he marries again. He's in disguises. He's had many aliases. At that point, he's claiming to be Arthur Knight, an Irish orphan. In the meantime, he's scamming people left and right from all kinds of things. And there's probably many other women along the way in the UK and elsewhere. But eventually, thanks to COVID, he was caught. He was finally found in a hospital. He was fighting extradition, claiming that, oh, I'm Arthur Knight, despite the fact that his accent is off. One journalist I talked to who has been covering him for forever compared it to a karaoke Churchill. I thought that was pretty great. Eventually, he was arrested, and his tattoos and fingerprints proved that yes, in fact, you are Nicholas Rossi slash Oliverian. Two different last names because had a stepfather that he changed his last name to. So he's been going between these different names for some time, as well as various aliases. So he was claiming that the Utah County attorney had paid someone while he was in a coma in Scotland to put the tattoos on him to match Nicholas Rossi. Because that makes so much sense. He was extradited, got back to Utah, still claiming he's Arthur Knight. Eventually, he dropped that, but said, oh, I had to pretend because my family was in danger. I'm like, what family? They've all disowned you, and you didn't really have any to begin with, and okay, whatever. So he was going to be on trial for the two R-word offenses here in Utah, one in Salt Lake County, one in Utah County, that happened in Orem. Orem is the same city where UVU is, Utah Valley University, where the Charlie Kirk incident happened. It's about 35 miles or so south of Salt Lake. Last summer in August, he stood trial in Salt Lake. That was the first one. It was actually the second case that was brought forward, but the first that went to trial while he was being kept in the Utah County jail down in Spanish Fork, which is then south of Orem. I was able to attend about half of the Salt Lake trial. That was incredibly cool to be in. That's where I met the journalist. I met a woman who also from the UK she's working toward doing a movie about him, like a biopic. Very small courtroom. Seeing him, he looks just like in all the pictures. Spoke that little raspy voice, still kind of pretending to have a bit of an English accent. Yeah, roll your eyes. I have massive respect for that particular survivor. She was amazing. And then I talked to one of the Utah County attorneys who was there for the entire trial, and I said, when is the trial happening in Provo? That's where the courthouse is. And he said, well, we're going to do jury selection on these days, and then we expect the trial to last 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, good, because during the jury selection, the first day or two of trial, I was going to be out of state at a conference teaching at a writing conference. So I thought, well, I'm going to miss probably the survivor herself testifying, but I'll be able to see most of the trial. That's good. Come back from the conference. Re-entry is always a challenge sometimes. And so it took me a couple of days to get my feet under me. I'm checking the court docket, and it's like, oh, yes, it's this weekend into next is still booked out for this trial. I'm like, okay, good. Then, like a day later, I get a notification on my phone that the jury has reached a verdict. I'm like, wait, excuse me, what now? So I missed that entire trial. It did not last for 2 weeks. It lasted just a matter of days. But fortunately, both trials came back with guilty verdicts, and he got the maximum. Now, here's where the tricky thing comes in, and I've explained this in other videos that deal with Utah law, and I wish this is not how it worked. The parole board technically gets to decide almost with only just a handful of exceptions. I think like the big M is almost the only one, but you have a minimum of 5 years, and then the maximum is to whatever, 20, 30, whatever. So he got 5 years to life in both cases. So people are saying, oh, he got 10, it's consecutive. So that means he's not serving 5 years to count for both. He's serving 5 and then 5 minimum. Because it's 5 to life, That's a much more serious thing. So all that means is that after the minimum, he will first, that's the first time he'll see the parole board. And they will first look at his case. No one gets parole their first attempt. And I don't think in any state, pretty much. This guy has been a grifter and a complete psycho for so long, and he's a clear danger. So I cannot imagine the parole board ever giving this man parole, or at minimum not for 20, 30, 40 years. This guy he's put away. A couple little updates. We have one of his ex-wives. This is after he joined the LDS church, kind of like Ted Bundy did, because people will trust me that way. And he met a sweet girl who was feeling the cultural pressure to get married and thought, well, I'm not that attracted to him, but he seems like a good guy. Maybe we can have a family together. And very quickly, shocker, he was very controlling what she could wear, when she could leave the house, anything that she could do. He's cutting her off from family and friends, the classic coercive control stuff. She secretly recorded him at one point, which helped her actually in a divorce proceedings later. They were only together a matter of months before she was able to finally get out. At one point, she called police, and then he claimed that she was the one attacking him. He did that numerous times. That was one of his little shticks. In one article, and I'll link to all these below, she said that the campaign of A started hours after they were wed. She said, quote, "We were married in October of 2015, and it was literally the day after that he became physically, emotionally, and sexually A. It happened immediately. The control on who I could talk to, cutting me off from friends and family, where I could go, what I did, leaving the house, what I could wear." And she also discovered what she called alarming diaries that he had written, noting women that he'd met, writing out their schedules, things that they liked and disliked. Like she goes, it was so detailed and scary. And she says, quote, "As soon as you start saying no or standing up for yourself, it lights a fire in him and he gets violent, very violent." Once he even locked her in a bathroom without food for 2 days. So yeah, kind of terrifying dude. So she goes, "Oh yeah, 10 years is not going to be enough." And I can assure her it will be more than 10 years. Almost certain. I mean, there's nothing that's 100% in the justice system, but I am confident in saying we're talking decades, not just 10 years. And then we've got his stepfather. So he was born Olive Verdi, and his stepfather is Rossi. That's where the name change came. Stepfather then commented on this whole thing. There are allegations that the stepfather was abusive to Nicholas. It's entirely possible. I don't know. Apparently, people have been movie studio bosses have been coming to him asking for the story if they can make a movie about it. Told the Scottish Sun, he said, "I get lots of calls. I was asked that if they did a movie, would I be a technical advisor? They said they'd give me a lot of money to do it, all kinds of stuff. There's plenty of stuff there to make a movie. I get so many calls about that idiot." There. I'll tell them whatever they want to know. I'd do it if they paid me for it, but nothing has come of it so far. So it sounds like he's a little bit of a money-hungry dude as well. And then some of the other family says that Nicholas deserves to be locked up for a long time. Amen to that. And then Mr. Rossi, the stepfather, adds, he will never change. He won't. He hasn't changed all these years, has he? He was a devil as a kid and a devil as an adult. I don't care about him anymore. That's pretty intense. Those are the updates on him. So he's going to be behind bars in Utah for a very, very long time. So let me know what you think about this case. Like, follow, subscribe, all of those good things. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.